Hello friends, I'm Where today. The train is not just objective of travel to move from places to places. It can be an objective of the travel itself. And Japan has a lot of different types of trains and train networks, but there are so many information and different companies of trains, so it might be a little bit confusing for you to understand, and you might end up just taking that everyone else takes. But there are lots of different countryside trains and the different networks that's good to know before you travel. So in this video, I'd like to go over which train is useful to take and also which train is fun to take in addition to useful trains. So you can have some ideas when you plan to travel to Japan and make the better itinerary. So this is the number 6 tip of the 30 travel tips of Japan travel. My name is Kengo. I'm making a Japan travel guide videos about Japanese trains and towns using lots of maps. So if you are interested in Japanese trains and cultures, cities, I appreciate if you could hit the like button and subscribe. So first, let's start from understanding the Japanese train networks and system, like where you can go and where you cannot go. If you follow this channel, you might have heard a lot from me, but let's start from the explanation of JR. JR is Japan's former national railway, but it's separated into 6 different companies from Hokkaido, East Japan based in Tokyo, JR Central based in Nagoya, and JR West based in Osaka, and JR Kyushu and Shikoku. So this is a map of Japan, and there are 4 major islands in Japan: Hokkaido, Honshu, Shikoku, and Kyushu. And these are basically the place you can go by trains. And other islands like Okinawa, you cannot go by trains. They have monorail, but where you can go without changing to any other transportation is to this. Southern tips is to Kagoshima's Makurazaki station, where there's a local train. And the southernmost station of JR line is this Nishi-Oyama station. And all the way towards north in Hokkaido, you can go to Wakkanai station, which is the northernmost station of Japan. Right there, there's the northern tip of Japan with Cape Soya, and here you can see the Russian territory right there in sunny days. When you travel, probably something you take the most is the Shinkansen, and that is connecting Tokyo to north to Hakodate right now. To be precise, Shin Hakodate, Hokuto station near Hakodate. This Shinkansen going to Hokkaido is branching out to Akita and Yamagata in Tohoku region. And Niigata has independent Shinkansen called Joetsu Shinkansen from Tokyo. And Hokuriku Shinkansen is going to Nagano, Toyama, and Kanazawa, and further to Tsuruga station in Fukui prefecture. But probably Shinkansen you take the most is Tokaido Shinkansen from Tokyo to Nagoya, Kyoto, and Osaka, Shin Osaka station. Shin means new, and one station away from Osaka station, so it's called Shin Osaka station. This train is the most popular one for business-wide and also for tourists too, going to Tokyo and Kyoto. This Shinkansen continues to Sanyo Shinkansen as a through service. So you know how to change trains and you can stay on it all the way to Fukuoka. And this is called Sanyo Shinkansen by JR West. This again is continued to Kyushu Shinkansen. The train from Tokyo stops here and doesn't go further, but train from Osaka goes through and go to Kumamoto and Kagoshima Chuo station in Kagoshima. Chuo means central. There's a separated Shinkansen from Nishi-Kyushu Shinkansen in Nagasaki, but unfortunately it's not connected to other Shinkansen at this point. So that's all, and Shikoku Island doesn't have Shinkansen. So that is a major Shinkansen network, and wherever there's no Shinkansen, there's a limited express train. Limited express train is usually the train that you have to make reservation and get a seat. But some trains has a non-reserved seat. Something you take the most is airport services, like from Kansai Airport to Osaka, Kyoto, also from Narita Airport, which is a little bit far away from Tokyo, to Tokyo area. But limited express always lands the place where Shinkansen doesn't exist. For example, from Tokyo to Osaka direction going to around Tokaido line, there's a Shinkansen, so they don't run regular limited express trains. On the other hand, Chuo line going to Nagoya direction through the mountain doesn't have Shinkansen, and they have limited express trains. going through the mountains to all the way to Matsumoto and Hakuba in Nagano. The popular train among international travelers going to Mount Fuji, Fuji Excursion, go through this Chuo line too, to Otsuki, and from here the train transferred to private railway called Fujikyu Railway going to Kauchiko. So you don't have to change train, but train automatically change the rail. So in case you cannot find any Shinkansen but you want to travel fast, you can find limited express trains. And each JR company has a limited express trains list, so let's see that first. And this is JR Hokkaido. And this is only cited Japanese, but if you cursor over, you can see which rail has which limited express train. Not always by limited express train, but you can go around this limited express train. Hokuto is connecting Hakodate to Sapporo. So after you travel by Shinkansen to Hakodate area, you can take this to Sapporo and continue travel. There is an Ozora going to Kushiro, which means big sky. Kamui going to Asahikawa, and Ohotsuku going to Abashiri. I think this is like only once a day. To go to Wakkanai in the northern edge, you can take Sarobetsu, Soya. For the train, there's the English pages, the train guide, and if you go to this train bound for Wakkanai, this English list of stations comes up, like Limited Express Soya and Limited Express Sarobetsu. So they have English pages, so I put in the description of this page. If you come south, it's a JR East territory, so let's see JR East. There are lots of different Shinkansen by JR East, but in addition, there's a limited express trains. They have this Azusa, Kaiji, and Fuji Excursion, and also the one Izukyu is this Sapphire Odoriko and regular Odoriko. The Sapphire is the one with just a green car and a premium car that has a very amazing seats. This is Inaho that I talked from Niigata to Akita, is this train. And if you click, you can see the detail. So if you like to see more about the information, you can check. JR West also has lots of different trains. I couldn't find English page for JR West. Thunderbird is connecting the Tsuruga, where the Hokuriku Shinkansen stops to Kyoto, Osaka. You can take Yakumo, which I got on before, from Okayama to Izumo. I think this belongs to JR Central, but Hida is going to like Takayama. In case you like this Alps region, you can take this one. It's a very new train and it was very comfortable train. And JR Kyushu is also known for have lots of unique trains, like Yufuin no Mori, going to Yufuin, and also Aso boys that are crossing the Kyushu's Aso areas, and lots of different joyful trains. So you might wonder what a joyful train is. Joyful train is a train not focusing on the speed, but more focusing on the view and experiences. So each different JR company have the joyful train services. So for example, this one going to Ibusuki in the southern tip of Kyushu is, you can, if you click, you can see that what kind of train, what kind of seat. So it has a lot of different designs and kind of more fun atmosphere than regular trains. These trains, you need to make a reservation too. And all others are local trains or rapid trains that skip some stations. So these local trains, you can just use like with getting on the subway or metro. You can usually buy the ticket, or you can use like IC card, that's pre-charged IC card, and you can just tap and go through the gate, and you can just jump on any trains that comes. Yamanote lines in Tokyo or Chuo line, it comes like every 5 minutes or more often, so you can just hop on it. You don't need reservation. And these are all JR trains, and in addition to this, there's also the private railways in Japan. And private railways, also JR is also now privatized, but it's a little different. And private company started as a private company. 16 major private railway company in Japan. Keisei, Tobu, Seibu, Keio, Odakyu, Tokyu, Keikyu, Sotetsu, and Meitetsu, Kintetsu, now it's 10, and Keihan, Hankyu, Hanshin, Nankai, Nishitetsu. I'm missing one. Okay, it was Tokyo's metro is actually private railways. Not each, but many private railways has a sightseeing spot or tourist spot along the rail. For example, Tobu has Nikko and Kawagoe, and Odakyu has Hakone. They have their own unique limited express train that also need extra charge in addition to regular fares, but This is a really fun experience because they try to always make an interesting train so it can attract more passengers. Now we know what the train is like, but what train is actually good to take? What train do I recommend? And so what is actually a fun train to be on? And for example, the longest distance train that I've taken for the recently is the Sunrise Izumo, which is the only regularly running night train in Japan. Do I recommend to everyone? Is actually I'm not sure. It was very difficult to make the reservation and call the private room, and also they don't have the dining car, and so it's very closed space and don't have many places to go. You can take shower, and there's a really small kind of lounge room. And also, if you're on the night train, you only see the one side of the view. In my opinion, it's not something you miss a lot if you couldn't book the reservation, but it's a very, very popular train. Something I recommend for if you go to Izumo is the Yakumo train that I got on the pre-ride before they start the service by JR West. This has a nice view along the Sea of Japan side, especially after Yonago Station. Yonago Station is a really fun place to visit for train lovers. It has an old-fashioned train station on the left. This sign line has full of hidden gems. I think I've been lots of different places, but the sign line doesn't have any special train, but has the best view of the ocean and so beautiful ocean. I have always good memory of that. Along this coast, another part that are beautiful was when I got on the train with the limited express Inaho from Akita. It goes by the beautiful coast from Akita to Niigata, and many times during the trip, you are seeing the ocean, so more than 3 hours trip felt so short, and especially when you have a good lunch box. So having the nice scenery and having good bento box is a really nice way to enjoy trains. You can also consider using the green car with really nice legroom on this Inaho trains. And if you cannot go that far near Tokyo, the line along the Izu Kyuko line going from Tokyo to like Kawazu, Shimoda, it also has a nice coastal views. When you get on, always make sure to take the train on the ocean side so you have the better view. Another thing interesting to be on is just train itself. Like for private railway, I took the Spacia X, has a very interesting, unique train that has a lounge and different types of the seats. And Seibu also has a train called Laview going to Chichibu in Saitama Prefecture, and they have a nice, interesting, huge window train that has a window to almost to your leg. So there's a lot of different train information, but I hope you could get some ideas of which train to be on and what is a good views. There are lots of different trains I haven't been on, and I will talk about in this channel for sure in the future. Train costs can pile up and it can be very expensive. If you go stop and go and stop and go, especially it can be very expensive. And something good option for international traveler is to get rail passes for Japan. But unfortunately, you might have heard that Japan Rail Pass raised the price. So in the next video, I'd like to go over, is Japan Rail Pass still worth getting, and what kind of route that you can do a good trip without too much rush can use the most of the Japan Rail Pass, followed by smaller regional passes and different kind of rail passes. Thank you for watching. Have a great trip to Japan.